Is running an independent pharmacy overwhelming? Unsure of the financial health of your pharmacy? You're not alone. Navigating the accounting, taxes, and business growth can be a real challenge, especially with the unique hurdles that pharmacies face. But there's good news. Sykes & Company, PA, is here to help independent pharmacies succeed.
All right.
With over 40 years working exclusively with independent pharmacies, our team of pharmacy CPAs and advisors offer cloud-based accounting, tax planning, tax compliance, in-house bookkeeping support, and more. Whether you're just starting out, transitioning your pharmacy, or looking to grow, we've got you covered. Visit sykes-cpa.com and take our RX assessment today, or call 252-482-7644 to learn more.
Hey, welcome back to This Week in Pharmacy. I am your host, Todd Urey, founder of the Pharmacy Podcast Network. You are listening to TWIRx. We like to TWIRx up in here, but I'm not going to do a lot of that right now. It is December 21st, or it might be the 20th, depending on when you're listening to this. Saturday before Christmas. There's a lot going on in our nation. There's a lot going on in pharmacy. We have some things to share. I'm going to jump right into the news. I'm kind of excited about what's happening in our profession. Before that, I want to talk about our sponsor. Sponsor today is brought to you. This episode is brought to you by Sykes & Company. They are an organization that focuses on caring for independent community pharmacies. They have podcasts on our network. They have another podcast called the Bottom Line Pharmacy Podcast. Their entire organization is dedicated to the success of independent community pharmacies. CPA, they are a tax accounting organization, keeping everybody in the pharmacy sector doing well from a financial perspective, and checks and balances and all that stuff I cannot stand about business. That's my worst side of business, is the financial side in some ways, and tracking it. And that's why I actually use Sykes as well. I use them for the Pharmacy Podcast Network and the upcoming release of our new company called RxPR. You can go to rxpr.net. There is a landing page. We are not releasing the company until January 25th, but stay tuned. The first public relations and business development strategy company dedicated 100% to the pharmacy profession. We're going to talk more about that. But before that, we just had closing of voting for the 50 most influential leaders in pharmacy awards. We had more votes this year than we did last year, by about 100 votes. It was over about 3,100 votes that came in. I want to thank everybody that voted. We are so excited to be working with RX Insider on this awards program. So a shout out to Greg and the RX Insider team. And the awards announcement, as well as the awards program, will be on January 30th. That's a Thursday. Once again, we're going to talk about the winners of the Pharmacy 50 Awards, the 50 most influential people in pharmacy for the 2024 season. We'll be releasing those winners that were voted by their peers, people like you listening, running this industry. And I'm so honored to be a part of everything that's happening in our pharmacy profession right now. Hey, a new podcast series is coming out from the APHA. I want to make an announcement about Vaccine Confident. It's an initiative to help pharmacists strengthen vaccine confidence in their patients in your communities. Everyone's welcome to take a look at the website. It's vaccineconfident.pharmacists.com. That's vaccineconfident.pharmacists or .pharmacists.com. This is exciting. We're going to take a look at the map, the interactive map that shows you different pharmacies that are available for vaccinations. This is brought to you by the University of Pittsburgh and the American Pharmacists Association. And we have a wonderful 3-part series that will be coming out very soon. Hey, if you're subscribed to the Pharmacy Podcast Network's master feed, that is, you can go anywhere, Apple, Spotify, any of your podcast players, subscribe to one feed and get 40 plus podcasts, more than 40 podcasts into your feed, so you don't have to be searching around for different podcasts. This week, we're featuring the NCPA 2024 annual coverage of that event. But this week, we had one of the best episodes this week, was just posted, I think, yesterday. And it was Representative Jake Auchincloss and APCI's Greg Reibold talking about the Patients Before Monopolies Act and PBM reform. You have to listen to this. If you don't understand PBM reform, you want caught up on the latest, this is a really amazing episode because of Jake's input. He's telling us what's happening in Congress and how he's pitching multiple bills around PBM reform. And we're excited to get this interview out. So take a listen to Patients Before Monopolies Act. All right, we're talking specialty pharmacy with the NASP podcast that's navigating the digital era and beyond for engaging key decision makers in specialty pharmacy. Shout out to Sheila Arquette and the NASP team. They do an amazing job, and we're very proud to have them on the network. Specialty pharmacy is expanding, so please take a listen to that. If you're in specialty, if you are, share this episode with someone. Once again, navigating the digital era and beyond for engaging key decision makers in specialty pharmacy. We will be at the Assembia conference. Assembia is like the Super Bowl business conference for specialty pharmacy. We will be there. If you're going, please come see us. And we want to sit you down and interview and find out what's going in specialty pharmacy from your perspective. The holistic strategies to break up chronic SIBO with Jennifer Yunt Coles. This is an amazing episode from Marina Buskov. Dr. Buskov is a wonderful podcaster, the Holistic Pharmacy Podcast. Take a listen to that. So let's talk about the news today. I want to go to the first bit of news, which it's titled, Giant Companies Took Secret Payments to Allow Free Flow of Opioids. Drug makers included Purdue Pharma paid pharmacy benefit managers not to restrict painkiller prescriptions. This is a New York Times coverage article. This is huge and should open up additional information about how PBMs need to be dealt with. They need to be sued. They need to be put out of business for practicing healthcare the way that they have. And no insurance company ever should own a pharmacy. It's a conflict of interest. It goes against Stark law. But obviously, the multi-billion-dollar organizations are able to manipulate our Congress and our lawmakers and keep them in the dark. And it's all coming out. PBMs are cracks in the armor. We see their cracks. We see things falling apart for them. And we couldn't be happier. And that is because we're going to finally get back to physicians and pharmacists making decisions about medications and allowing our free market to work the way it's supposed to, with patients allowed to go to any pharmacy that they want. And I know that there's a lot of work to be done, but nonetheless, there's a lot of information coming out of the woodwork of our profession. And one of that is how drug makers, including Purdue, were paid by PBMs to not restrict their painkiller prescription overflow, which is just absolutely horrible. A lot of people were killed. A lot of people lost their lives because of opioids, and we'd like to see that weren't controlled, and we'd like to see PBMs be held accountable. PBMs are just strange right now, and there's good ones coming up, the next generation ones, but the big three are just, they just need reset. Let's just put it that way. Hey, Pharmacy Practice News reports that hospital pharmacies combine tech solutions for workflow challenges. This goes into about hospital pharmacies facing significant growth, particularly in ambulatory space, along with pressures from workforce shortages, and are deploying technology and artificial intelligence solutions to manage that growth. Several pharmacy leaders are putting their minds into this. There's a webinar that they took place in on operational improvements for enterprise health systems. It was hosted by Blue Site in September, and the company announced 3 new product extensions at the ASHP, the Mid-Year Conference 2024 Clinical Meeting and Exhibition in New Orleans. And AI is changing so many things in our industry. I want our TWIRx listeners to be aware of what's going on. This is focused on hospital pharmacies combining their AI tech to help solve solutions, help bring solutions to the table for workflow challenges, workforce challenges. All right, next up is the Ohio Capitol Journal. What a wonderful publication. They put out some great information on PBM reform. And this article is titled, Pharmacists Bemoan Loss of Prescription Drug Middlemen Reforms from Government Spending Package. By the way, who uses the word bemoan? Because I've never used the word bemoan in a sentence. I don't know if you have. If you have, just tweet us or send us an Instagram, #bemoan, tag pharmacy podcast. Use it in a sentence. Use it in a sentence that you think how bemoan should be used in today's language. But anyway, so this article measures the intended to control prescription drug costs that seems dead after President-elect Donald Trump and Elon Musk on Wednesday worked to sink a bipartisan deal to fund the government. I think this is written in a way that really wants to balance out the input of the oncoming administration versus what's in place. It says that now under a new Republican plan released Thursday evening, gone are measures that community pharmacists say were the most significant efforts so far to rein in pharmacy middlemen. They say are largely to blame for the rising cost of prescription drugs. They're measures for which Trump himself had voiced support. Okay, so you have a bill that's submitted for processing and to go to the next stage. And inside that bill, you have a whole bunch of stuff that the new administration is not agreeing with. And so when they stop that from moving forward, encompassing all the other parts, now they're said that they're against PBM reform. I don't believe it. I believe that we have to keep pushing PBM reform and separate those bills. Why everything has to be put into one big bill, I'll never understand it. Happens year after year after year to balance the budget. Each of the issues should be funded separately. It should not be one big ass bill that is being funded all in one. We have subcommittees, and each of those committees should have a bill that is voted on by Congress and funded by Congress separately. Stop putting it all together, because the Democrats hide stuff, the Republicans hide stuff, everybody gets pissed off at each other. I think each individual issue that is looking for taxpayer money should be separated. And I don't know why we can't do that. I don't know why. These people work for $174,000, $176,000 a year. And then some of our subcommittee members that go on and do other things are making multi-millions of dollars per year, which I don't think that should even be a thing. I don't think you should be a millionaire in serving in Congress, but we know that's not reality. And there's a whole nother podcast there about insider trading that we could talk about. But I like how these writers, even though I absolutely love the Ohio Capitol Journal and their publishing, but Marty Scaldin, he just put this article out and he writes it, and it's not, once again, it's reporting. Instead of it being straight reporting, it's always got a opinion flair to it. And I wish that we could have people that write things and report the news based on just the straight, and instead of mixing it up like they are. And I don't like it on either side. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. especially when healthcare is involved. I think we need to go right up the middle. Jake Auchincloss, he is a Democrat. He has a lot of things that he disagrees with. I happen to be a Republican. I'm much more on the conservative side. But I would work with someone like Jake Auchincloss every day if I were in Congress, if I were a lawmaker. I love his attitude. I love how he's aggressive. He believes in what he believes in based on the data that he has. And more pharmacists and more people like Jake, his whole family has been in healthcare for years. The educated people that understand and can call bullcrap on insurance companies. That is important. Okay, before we get to our featured interview, a shout out to our listeners. I want to say thank you. It has been an amazing year. We have jumped up by about 15% in our listeners for 2024. So thank you for subscribing and listening to the Pharmacy Podcast Network. Tell us what we are missing. Send me a message. Send me a message personally. My last name is Uri. That's EURY at pharmacypodcast.com. Once again, Uri, EURY at pharmacypodcast.com. And tell me a subject that you're passionate about. If you want to be on the podcast, once you come on TWIRx, do the news with me. Let's talk. Lots of going on in 2025. I can't wait to share with you. And with that, let's get on with our featured interview. You're going to love this. This is an out-of-the-box, last-minute interview that we did just yesterday, and it's coming to you fresh today. And with that, I give you our featured interview. Hey, this is our feature on This Week in Pharmacy. Features are my favorite part of our show because bringing someone else on to really talk about different things happening in the profession, we cannot, no one listening, absolutely zero of you, would say, pharmacy's standing still. It's not going anywhere. Why am I talking sound like an old person? You know what? I'm getting old myself, so I kind of think about that. I'm like, how do I perceive the world differently than my 12-year-old? How am I seeing the world in pharmacy changing? I've been in pharmacy 20 years, and there has never, ever, ever been a time since I've been here, which isn't really that long compared to some of the other people that are mentors of mine, influencers out there. Never in a time has pharmacy been in more of a state of change from the way that where pharmacists are going to be paid, and consultancy and pharmacogenomics and MSLs and clinical trials. When I attend pharmacy conferences, and like I said, it's been 20 years, so lots of pharmacy conferences, the conference is changing. And one of the conferences that I went to that really blasted me, that I was like, wow, this is different, was the VIVE conference known as Vive. And it was all based on technology, and it was just radical. And I think this is 2021 or 22. It was down in Miami. And Vive was a spinoff of the HLTH conference. They say health. And we attend health. Pharmacy Podcast Network was there. It was amazing to be part of that. We brought Independent Pharmacy Cooperative with us to talk about their platform that is more in the disease state management called iCare Plus. What a wonderful experience. So conferences are still evolving. And one of the conferences that I'll always remember for the rest of my life before the latest, which was this Vive, but let's go back even a little bit further. One conference that changed the complete game of pharmacy marketing, was Pharmacy Development Services by the one and only Dan Benamos. And the impact that Dan has had, the ripple effect, the echo effect of Dan's work in our profession is still going out there. The ripples are still going out there. And the ripples are other people who have been touched by that organization and their impact on other people's impact on other people's impact. So one of those people that is revolutionizing the conference environment for our pharmacy profession, and I'm so proud to say this, is kind of like one of those ripples that is making her own major splash. Is it my sticking with the acronym here, or the example? Is Dr. Nicolette Mathey. I want to welcome her to TWIRx today, This Week in Pharmacy. I'm not going to make you TWIRx, but if you want to TWIRx, I don't know how, I can't do it in my chair because my butt is definitely skinny. I'm losing weight and stuff like that. But if you want to try to TWIRx, you could go ahead.
Oh, well, I'd rather talk about our conference. I'm super excited about it. And thank you for having me here. We're really looking forward to this just revolutionary conference opportunity for all of us to get together and change pharmacy.
What I said, the opening, tell me it doesn't fit. You're doing something in the conference space in pharmacy that I've never heard of being done before. Right out of the gate, let's talk about AtriumX Conference, which is happening on February 27th through March 1st. This is exciting. I'm glad that we're getting to be a part of it. Pharmacy Podcast Network will be helping as press and media support. I love going to all the edgy conferences, the ones that are up and coming. So, Nicolette, talk to us. Why is this conference different? And I'm holding back because I already know, but tell our listeners how this is really revolutionizing conferences for our pharmacy profession.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're so excited to be bringing something different to the conference lineup. We're having it, like you said, the end of February. So February 27th through March 1st. It's going to be at Margaritaville Resort in Orlando. And it's been a long time coming. I mean, just like you, I've been through the pharmacy circuit and just kind of seen the changes in pharmacy. I've put on a lot of events over the years. And a lot of just the best parts in pharmacy conferences, they happen in these kind of chance conversations that you have with folks, or, in the lobby bar, or in the hallways, or things like that. So we've actually taken a very structured approach from a very reputable author who has a whole system on this type of content, but it's peer-led content. We have facilitators, we have a whole production crew. But what's different about it is we don't have slide decks prepared in advance, speakers practicing their presentation, talking from the stage. We don't really have that with this conference. We're curating with purpose and with, guardrails, but we're curating those organic conversations that you have with like-minded pharmacy owners. And so with that, it's very limited. This being the first year, we're limiting the ticket sales, we're limiting the exhibitors. We just opened up the sales on both sides for exhibiting and attendees, and it's going pretty quickly. So I'm excited for that and thankful that everybody's willing to join us on this new journey. But we're just excited to curate what is most important for you as a pharmacy owner right now, what's happening in your business, let's plan out your 2025, what changes are going on that keep you up at night, and what also are you excited about? And then let's curate that content with our kind of subject matter expertise that we have in attendance, just to actually bring real world solutions and thought processes to what we're all facing.
That's incredible. What a novel approach to conferences, making the conference goer feel so much more part of the whole thing from the ground up, because if their ideas are passionate enough and they really want to dive in, they can do so. I was wondering, is there a sector of pharmacy that you're like, hey, this atrium is really going to be a bunch of thought leaders and insight people that are going to help develop the conference kind of on the fly and bring purpose to it? But is it, because I could go to a specialty pharmacy conference, something in long-term care geriatrics, something for community pharmacy, or is it the profession in general, which is under in the opening before bringing you into the studio? We were talking about change and the massive change that's impacting our profession.
Yeah, great question. So it's not any specific type of pharmacy, but I will say it's independent pharmacy owners. It's business focused. So we're always kind of relying on that underpinning. And as we all know, within that, there's so many different sectors between long-term care and people who are looking at automation, or they're looking at workflow, they're looking at long-term care at home, billing opportunities, big technology focus. And I'm biased when it comes to technology. My company, Atrium24, we built pharmacy's first sales system in CRM in our software, Dottie. And the plug for Dottie is that she connects the dots for your pharmacy sales and marketing initiatives. So I'm really excited to see the different technological advancements in independent pharmacy that are coming to exhibit at our conference and participate. And I always say, what a time to be alive. That's just my nerdy thing that I say, because it's just so exciting how fast things are changing. And it's going to be, when we look back, we're going to be able to say, like, we were at the peak of our careers when AI came in and changed pharmacy and made it better and made patient care just make sense, made pharmacist and provider collaboration make sense. And I think that's kind of been the missing link, because pharmacies, a lot of times they operate on some archaic technology. I mean, we still use fax machines.
Yeah.
So
yes, we do.
So there's all different types of pharmacies. Of course, compounding has been really big and potentially profitable for pharmacies. The whole 503B to 503A kind of new quote unquote clarification that the FDA's put out. I mean, there's all kinds of exciting things going on that I think pharmacy owners are feeling pretty strongly about, based on the few hundred pharmacies that we currently have utilizing our Dottie platform. That I'm seeing cool stuff in their data sets. So we'll see what everybody's interested in when they come, and we'll talk about it.
I'm so glad, just from a personal perspective, I'm going to give my opinion, that this conference isn't in Vegas, because I just go to Vegas too many times, and it kind of wears me out. But it's in Orlando, and I love Orlando. The reason is two reasons. There's number one, it's just easy access. It's in the same time zone. That's my selfish reasons. And then I don't spend hardly any money in hotel fees because I have so many family members. It's kind of like the second home state for me, where I have so many of my mom and my dad, my sisters and my cousins that are spread out through Central Florida. So I can always visit family members.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll have some good weather. I'm a Florida girl. I live in the Tampa Bay area, just outside of Clearwater Beach. And I was born here. My whole family was. And so usually in February, it's nice. We might get a little cold snap, but usually by the afternoon, it warms up. So hopefully it'll be nice weather. It's a really easy airport. I was really excited about the Margaritaville resort as well, because it's more intimate. It's not one of these huge punch out, chain resorts. It's really quirky, as you could imagine. And it's for our conference, you will, one of the things that I'm kind of weird in this way. When you talk about Vegas, I feel the same way. It's expensive. It's big. You kind of lose everybody to the city, right? Yeah. So with Margaritaville, what I think is really fun is it's kind of contained. It's not a huge hotel. You're going to be seeing people in the hallways and the restaurants and things that are part of the conference. And it's walkable to like unique non-chain restaurants and little shopping areas in this sunset area. And then they do have shuttles and such to the Disney and the Disney Springs and all that fun stuff. But I feel like it's a good mix, good airport, good weather, good time of year. And as you alluded to, the PDS conference, I mean, that was a really great event for so many people for so many years. Yeah. And that was a great time slot. We're in that time slot. It was in Orlando. We're in Orlando. And it's just really going to help us all kick off our year. I met you back when I worked for PDS. I worked directly for Dan. I learned a lot. That was over 10 years ago now. And I was the director of clinical services. And one of my main jobs, which was really fun and awesome, was to research and visit pharmacies throughout the year and kind of put together, help put together and curate. It was a massive team that worked on this, but help to put together the big program that we would launch at the February conference every year. So you would have to poke as many holes in it as possible, vet it, pilot it out in a lot of reputable pharmacies so that you could have some really smart people around the country tell you what worked and what didn't, what concerns they had, so you could kind of mitigate all that before you presented it from the stage to, 1,000 pharmacies or something. So we've all had a lot of collective experiences in this industry. And I love sitting back and listening. There's so many smart people out there that are in the trenches every day, and I want to hear from them.
Absolutely. All right. You sold me, Nicolette. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to
All right, let's go.
All right. So listeners, atrium24.io. Once again, atrium24.io. And you'll find it up there in the banner. It will be the Atrium Conference. Take a look at it. Sign up as soon as you can. Registration is open. Come see us. Come spend time with innovators in pharmacy, people that are really passionate about changing the game, and experience a different kind of conference. I can't wait to meet up with you there, Nicolette, and I'm really looking forward to this. So thanks for being on This Week in Pharmacy.
Yeah, we're really excited about it too. Myself and the production team, we've pulled together the gals from PDS who are responsible for putting on such a great show. And so we're kind of like bringing the band back together. So we're so excited that you're excited about it too, and that you're willing to work with us on this. We're kind of taking like the best pieces from around the industry and pulling it together to really, I think, put together something special for everybody that'll be valuable. So I really appreciate your support.
Absolutely. All right, you heard it here first. We're twerksing to worksin. We're worksing our way to Orlando, and we're excited. So we will see you in Orlando at the AtriumX Conference on February 27th through March 1st in sunny Orlando. Even when it's not sunny, it's sunny for me. Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh area gets 78 days of sun per year, light, and I need more sunshine. So I'm headed to Orlando.
Yes, thank you so much.
See you down there.